Wow, what? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Getting to work, sir. Hi, and welcome back to the Coffee's Comic Table. And then, I'm sorry, being silly. Pikachu demands that we get the job done. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do this. We're gonna not only talk about comic books, as we do every day, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily. Welcome to the Comics Coffee Table. Let's take a break. Together, have a coffee break. Leave the real world's problems over there just for a few moments in a day. Take your mind off your mind. Join some friends. Pull up a chair. Bring a snack, please. And we love talking about comic books. That's what the show is about. Spending a few minutes in our day proving that we can talk about comic books every day. Then gonna go and take care of the rest of the day. Let's run our days and not have our days run us. Let's run our long boxes and our collections and not have them run us. Indeed. We are reboarding, rebagging, reboxing my entire collection. And along the way, I am wrapping my head around grading and the pricing and how condition follows worth. They've taken the Overstreet guides. They've taken the equal and fair, not competition, but other collectors, stamps and coins. And that's those same standards and criteria are applied with comic books. Ain't it cool? I think it is. I'm not a speculator, and I'm not a whale, but I could be a dolphin, or with porpoise. Oh, I would say it's a fishy pun, but you know what I mean. We're talking about mammals here, aren't we? Hairy. All mammals have hair. A dolphin has a very fine, fur belly or something. I heard that. I've never been up close to a dolphin. I wouldn't know. I've never asked one either. We are reboarding, reboxing, rebagging specifically the end. Thank goodness of this. This is about 5 years full of Wednesdays, and specifically my love of Green Lantern comic books. And what a time to have been a Green Lantern fan and to have been tuned in to going to the local comic book shop every Wednesday. And one of those reasons was to get my new issue of Green Lantern Man. Yes, Green Lantern Man. That's what do you call him? He's known as Green Lantern Man here. I like being silly. That's the problem. And and these are basically, that's 5 years worth of comic books. And we're at the end of it now, from 2005 to 2010 specifically. And that's almost it. So 18 years. So let's get to it. We're at the end. Although we've come to the end of the road, still I can't hang on. It's so natural. You belong to me. I belong to you. Oh. Sorry. Don't want to get a copyright strike. I'm pitch perfect. Here we are. Blackest Day. 8 of 8. Green Lantern, 52. Indeed. Let's look at that first. And look, a video game ad. I love Wario and Waluigi. They're interesting. And the negative Earth counterparts, or the negative Marios. Never really got into, like, I played Super Mario 2. Final Fantasy. What's that? 13? Yeah. So this looks like it happens before the end. Great panels, though. Pretty trippy. This is Fall Sinestro. Tripping through the energy of the cosmos. This is just interesting. It's interesting art. Each one of these panels has something to do with the emotional spectrum and how the origin of it all from the entity, the source of all life, primordial. To ourselves today. Boy. And a video game ad. But we also have a 2-page Colgate ad. Oh, you weren't expecting that. For Sinestro to get stabbed from behind by Necron. But look, it's a Colgate ad. But here's the next page. Oh, yeah, actually, it's a huge Colgate ad in the center. And are we trying to sell to kids or young people? But that's Teen Titans 37, August of 2006. Writer, Jeff Johns. Penciler, Tony Daniels. Inkers, Kevin Conrad and Norman Rappamund. And this is two friends kissing. 75 years. It's funny that they chose that one because 75 years of the hero getting the girl. Because that was what's happening here. That's Tim Drake and Cassie Sandsmark. And what just happened? Well, Connor Kent just died in the Infinite Crisis. And Connor was with Cassie. And Tim's having trouble dealing. And so you can see they're both crying. Maybe it's because they have onion breath or something. Because Titan's Tower is in New York. It's like in Manhattan. It's one of the river islands, dude. That's what Titan's Tower is. It's like, it's not on Roosevelt Island or Ellis Island, but it's like there. That's what I think it's an imaginary, like, East River Island. It's got a great view of New Jersey too. But yeah, that's it. We love Teen Titans here. We love talking about the Teen Titans. Like, hey, look, video game. Do you sense a theme? I do. But this is pretty cool. I mean, look, you got a tidal wave coming. You have the moon has turned into a giant zombie, and it all looks bleak. It is the blackest night. This title lives up to its billing. Like Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. Like, I mean, that was not so much. But this is just, this was like over the top, but totally lives up to its name. Sinestro, he got a healing factor, huh? Well, of course, because he's a White Lantern right now. He's like it's part of the ring. But also, Hal Jordan, you know what I mean? Back in the day, back in the Silver Bronze Age, his ring protected the wearer from mortal injury. I remember that from... I remember that specifically from a Kyle Rayner story, when Kyle ended up in the past. See, Kyle originally, when he was Green Lantern, he was the only Green Lantern, and that was the whole thing. The Green Lantern Corps was dead. They got They didn't get decimated. Decimation is literally a Roman punishment, and it means to kill. It means to dispatch 1 out of every 10, whether it's a platoon or a village. That's decimation. Annihilation is more like it. Complete nigh destruction could be more befitting. Wait a second, Sully. Before you sling that issue number 8, let's look at it. Look at that. Ain't that cool? The band's all here. It's the big send-off. This is a huge event. It ends, and look, chewing gum. Kind of like snack food, but hey, chewing gum, huh? And coming after this is Brightest Day, and that's when I jump off the ship here. And I see it in my funny books. You know, they're like rings in a tree. No pun, because, you know, wood pulp makes paper. But in their own way, you know, they just... The acorn doesn't fall far from the tree. Aw. Oh, sorry. I'm barking up the wrong tree. Stop it. Yeah, we got video game ads, but so we got... Like, the conceit is to... William Hand needs to be a zombie for Necron to have... Get an emotional like some kind of attachment. So they bring back William Hand. Hello, children. In the summertime, playing outside. Neighbors. You know, suffer the little children. That's a Bible verse. I should be better on the Bible. I am an ordained minister. Pretty rusty on it. How does the Bible quote go? Bible quote: suffer the children. But Jesus called unto him and said, verily, suffer the little children to come unto me, and forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of God. Verily, I say unto you, whosoever shall not receive the kingdom of God as a little child shall in no wise enter therein. Okay, but it's Matthew chapter 19, verse 14. The Bible Gateway. But Jesus said, suffer little children and forbid them to come unto me, for such is the kingdom of... Okay, so maybe that's a bad example. I always thought that I interpreted that as suffer the little children, or suffer little children. Like, he said, suffer little children. Like, suffer the children, because it's not about the children suffering. It's about you suffering from the screeching and touching shit and rubbing their noses and putting stuff in their mouths and to the danger they get, but suffer them. It's not about the small person's discomfort. No, I think that's the wrong interpretation of that passage. No, it's about you suffer. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to suffer. You need to. Suffering is, it's like it's just a child having a good time in the rain, and of course the little girls are screeching. That's what they do. Every day's a Beatles concert. When you're 6 years old. But look at this page. Wow. Look at that. The armies of the undead. We're squaring off. And all the light together. All together now. I've been talking about this. This is what it's like. The power where allegory is right, when it can do good, or when it's like it's not so much on the nose, when it dawns on you like, hey, this is about getting over our differences and working together, isn't it? And we could use a story like Blackest Night today. We really could. We deserve it. I mean, with all the ways we've been kind of like splintered as a culture and as people
who are literally being taught to be diametrically opposed to, you know what I mean, with refusing a middle ground. And then people like me that are stuck in the middle. And what do? And we suffer children. We suffer little children because, and forbid them not. Yeah. And there's a comma there. I don't get all biblical. It's just more like screeching children that was got, no, put it, she'll be done in a second. Don't worry. And then Hal brings all the revives back from their Black Lantern state. A couple of them were already saved. And then, boom, he brings back the Anti-Monitor. By doing that, totally cuts off from the power battery. And then we have a huge gatefold page. Centerfold. This is something like this you can only get in a comic book. Who's returned? Osiris, that's Shazam's kid brother-in-law. There's Deadman. There's Hawkman and Hawkgirl. There's Arthur Curry, the Aquaman. John Jones, the Martian Manhunter. Ronnie Raymond, Firestorm. Digger Harkness, Captain Boomerang. Jenny Lee Hayden, Jade. Hank Hall, Hawk. Reverse Flash, Edward Thawne. And Maxwell Lord. And they're going to be a lot of the players in the upcoming Brightest Day sequel or so. And then see, a nice reunion. Melodrama. Romance. I mean, it works. It has its place. And those could have been any two characters. That could have been Apollo and Midnighter, and it still would have worked. It's just not the video game ads. And that's not Kendra. It's under that. It wasn't Kendra who came back. It's Shiara. It gives me goosebumps because I love the story of Hawkman and Hawkwoman. I really do. And look, there's a comic book. And it's giving me goosebumps, dudes. I love, and that's a nice melodramatic, romantic moment and a payoff. That's really cool. And Jason's still in there with Ronnie, and he's like, "You killed Gemma." Or Gem. And just this is setting them up for their next thing. And look, the Colgate ad again. And this one chooses another cover. This is from Batman 610, February of 2003. Writer Jeff Loeb, penciler Jim Lee with Scott Williams on inks. This iconic kid. This is great. Awesome. I could give or take Bruce and Selena at this point, but damn, when it's done right, it's done right. That's done right. Maxwell Lord. Aw. Jade gives, she doesn't remember that, the whole bathroom scene with that other guy in Kyle's own apartment. Ralph and Sue aren't there. How unfair. We all go our separate ways. And look, the revived William Hand has been taken in with the Indigo tribe. But he has been kind of lobotomized as well. Or maybe the experience
fried out his brain. I wonder what tales hold of William Hand next. This odd, creepy human man who did despicable things, a terrible person. What will that do? What will become of him? And will he become one of these Indigo Tribes people? Meanwhile, and they're like, Bruce didn't come back. Because Bruce really isn't dead. He's unstuck in time, Billy Pilgrim style. Over in Grant Morrison's The Return of Bruce Wayne. There we go. And that is The Blackest Night. We've done it. Thank you so very much for being part of that. We just totally went through an entire event together. We're going through an event right now with Night Terrors. Come on, guys. You know it. I know it. I love them. It's the 0 issue of Brightest Day. Ha ha ha! I do. I got it. Of course I did. $3.99 forsooth. Yeah, and there's issue 1 of Brightest Day. The last scene in Brightest Day, there's the giant white lantern somewhere on Earth. But I love a 0 issue. Hey, look! Video games ad. Hey, look! A video game ad. This is great art. And you have a bunch of revived heroes. See, Boston Brand, Deadman. He's not Deadman anymore. As Boston Brand being deceased, his spirit became Deadman. But he's not Deadman right now, not anymore. But he's got a connection to the White Lantern energy entity. So it's like I stopped reading this. I don't have issue 2 of Brightest Day. I got off the boat right there. I was like, enough. I don't think it's got the momentum to perpetuate. I don't think there's more thrust here. I feel inertia coming on. And what happens shortly after this will be Flashpoint and the New 52. And a logo change, too. The logo is going to change once again. And this is June of 2010. What was Justice League 1? New 52. Justice League number 1. Justice League number 1. October of 2011. So, and that's its cover date. So just almost a year later. So in between, so Flashpoint is happening too over on Flash, which is its own event. You know, so it's now we're seeing, you know, Jeff John. Oh, gee, this is the week for busted comics. Wow, right in the center. Yeah, so we're focusing on each one of the returned here. And right there's Osiris. And some get their chance and some don't. There's Deadman being called upon. And here, up there, that's our first, maybe the first appearance of Deathstorm. Because this might not be Black Lantern Flash at this point, because Deathstorm does get introduced a little later in the series. I think at issue 22 or something, and is only used for like one issue and gets killed rather quickly. But it made an indelible impact as a character. So there are different creators for Deathstorm, and that Deathstorm, yeah, I guess. Then the wonderful, wild, woolly world of comic book creators and who gets attributed to what. It's really interesting.
And there's that white lantern that everyone sees. It's the big mystery at the end of it, which is interesting too, because this came out, I think, around the first, phase 1 of the MCU. What happens at the end of Iron Man and the post-credits scene? Nick Fury. Then comes the Incredible Hulk. And then that's the Edward Norton one. It was pretty good too. I liked it. What was the post-credit scene for that? Wasn't it Coulson saying we found it, and that was meaning Thor's hammer, right? And that led us into Thor 1, I think. We got any MCU black belts out there? Ki, step up to the mat. And Brightest Day number 1. I want to learn how to fix a busted page in the center. There's got to be a fix for it. And it's a bit Arthurian. No one can move it. This white lantern. Here we are. Hey, look, Iron Man 2. And cinemas coming soon. Video game ad. Looks like Big Ben Parliament. Oh, wow. Look at this. There's an ad in here. Keeping it fresh. You're supposed to rip this out. Or, no. It folds out. Aw. Ace the Kiss. Aw, that's cute. Colgate, Max Fresh. It's simple. We got 3 panels here. Young man brushing his teeth before his date. The rain. Oh no, protect her. How patriarchal. We've got 4 panels. Think fast. Uh-oh. And then, And then the next one is she smacks him in the face because she didn't ask for consent or something like that. This is like beautiful. Really good Aquaman. When did Geoff Johns do his Aquaman run? Because I didn't buy any of that. Because Geoff Johns did Aquaman. And that was in the New 52. I heard he did a really good job with that too. But I was not nibbling on much of the New 52. I'll tell you that much. So yeah, here we got Brightest Day 0 and 1, and that of which I say, which is almost ends my Blackest Night collection. Here, it's. I consider this the denouement, and denouement is a fancy cinema term for like the end of the movie before the credits, the emotional release you get. I watched Tron the other night, and it's got very simple denouement at the end of it, but it was so necessary and welcome. It's a nice relief because that's what it's supposed to do. It's just Flynn being reunited with Alan and Laurie on the ENCOM roof, and then looking out into the horizon, and then night falling and a time lapse over the city, and it was just really. It was like, as movies go, that was a really solid denouement. And we're gonna end for good. Not just the Greenland, not just the Blackest Day, but Green Lantern run. With these 3 issues, I tune away from Green Lantern and Geoff Johns at issue 54. This is a Shane Davis cover, by the way. This is great. That's a Doug Mankey. I'm pretty sure this is a Shane Davis cover. Yeah, I see his maker's mark right there. And hey, video game ad. Peter Tomasi, Pat Gleason, going forward to rebuild together. After this, Saranac Natu embraces her destiny, and she becomes, I believe, leader of the Yellow Lantern Corps. Because she is Sinestro. Isn't she not? Aw. There's our guy Gardner. Aw. That's cool. See? Two buddies having a beer. See, that's denouement. That's like, oh wow, we made it, huh? Yeah, okay. Clink. Let's have a beer. I'll drink to that. And then later on, coming this year, Green Lantern Emerald Warriors. Yeah, I tuned out for the War of the Green Lanterns, the First Army, all that. Yeah. I don't know what I was reading. You can always look it up. I'm remembering it was more like Image stuff, like Image had, and lots of Neo Vertigo stuff too. Vertigo had a great second renaissance. Like there's like two distinct kind of flavors of Vertigo, maybe three, actually. The end part of Vertigo, or Vertigo has a shitty Act 3, but its Act 1 and 2 are amazing. Here we go. We've done it. Huzzah! Yay! All right. Thank you guys so very much. I'm sorry that it took so long, but or it took as long as it took, and that's that. We have bagged, boarded, and boxed my my Green Lanterns, and there's a room. I think there's room for some Flash. Maybe. We'll see. I'm gonna fill that up with some more. And of course, just so you know that boards, add as much weight as they do, and thickness. So you're going to end up putting less comics into your long boxes. So that's why it's important to prioritize them. Next for me is going to be like, oh, which one of you are getting Mylars? Well, I'm going to go through them, after this, and be like, okay. The one we have a system. We flag them with painter's tape and Sharpie, and then we can go back and be like, okay, let's hone our skills when it comes to grading. Let's learn how to grade. Let's pretend we're going to get a job at a comic book shop, and because anyone at your comic book shop, if I worked at your LCS and you asked me to grade something, I would ask the owner to do that. And then he would probably say, I'm going to show you this once because I don't want you to bother me with this kind of stuff, kid. You got to learn. That's what one of my chefs said to me about making a hollandaise sauce. He was like, who taught you how to make a hollandaise sauce? The guy you fired, chef. That's why I'm doing it. All right, Eric, I'm going to show you how to do this once. The French way. That's all it took. Wow. I'm just happy that it's done. I was like... set yourself goals, little goals, accomplish them. This little goal's been accomplished. This is, I'm not going to give it permission to say like it's stressing me out. I will say that it feels good as a person to accomplish the goals that you set out for yourself. And wow. And now I can probably just like start selling these because they're in a, I would not want to buy a funny book through a catalog or a mail service, aka the internet. And if it didn't come with a bag and a board, WTF? Who are you dealing with? They're not going to give me any stars on Uber. Oh, well, I don't drive, so I'm dependent on Uber. Uber rules. Yeah, and wow, I'm pooped. I'm going to get myself a cup of coffee. I need a break from a coffee break. Thank you so very much for tuning in and sharing this experience of
going through Green Lantern. We just went through 5 years of Wednesdays of Green Lantern. The anticipation, the build up, we saw how early Jeff Johns seeded his book with Blackest Night, and then that was just the Act 1, and Act 2 having to be, the Sinestro Corps War and the War of Light, and then Act 3 being the huge mega event itself for almost the rest of the year, for almost 9 months of a year out of 12 months. It was all about the Blackest Night, and it was the best thing that was going on in DC Comics, maybe even comics at that time, and it was, and it's always been owned by Warner. I mean, so it's like we always got this thing about corporate stuff. No, it's about the publisher, and it's about the editor in chief, and it's about who's editing the book, and it's about what kind of who's executing the vision. If it's, you have to be in harmony with their overbosses, their corporations who have their HRs, and that corporate business world culture that comes from like Ivy League schools, secondary education. I am a blue collar union tradesman, a high school graduate with 1 year of college, dropped out, couldn't handle it. It was too much for me. I just hated it. I'm a smart dude though. It's the culture of the Ivy League business schools that are being, that's probably the greatest problem in modern comics and fictions today. The needs of the few outweighing the needs of the many. To butcher a Star Trek quote. It's more of who is making the decisions? Well, cui bono? Of course. Who profits? Yeah, read Earth 2 by Grant Morrison and Frank Whiteley. It's a good read. Thank you so much. We've been talking about comic books, and we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. And we'll find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We make daily content here. We talk about comic books every day, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. We talk about spirituality, purpose. I'm a professional cook, a union tradesman. We talk about cooking a lot, too. So tune in. You never know what's going to happen next. Indeed. Thank you so very much. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again tomorrow in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye.